It's shocking, but it's true. Avatar Fire and Ash is headed for a box office collapse, at least in terms of what the industry was expecting. James Cameron could be leaving the franchise. As it turns out, the audience already got ahead of him. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is a pleasure, as always, to have you here with us, and I want to let you know we take no joy in theaters suffering. We take no joy in cinemas closing. We take no joy in box offices not doing what they're supposed to do. That, however, is what's happening this weekend, and we're going to tell the truth. Folks, we did it last night. If you're a member of the Patreon, you already know what's going on. We're going to give a few more extra details here today as we're getting more clarity. But last night on the Patreon had this update for you all, and we're always trying to bring the info as quickly as we can in as many ways as we can. Folks, it's www.patreon.com/WDW Pro if you'd like to check it out. We've got a 75% off discount code right now. Go check it out, 2025, last chance, all caps, no spaces, 2025, last chance, and get in there with a 75% discount on the Patreon. Here's what we've got going on, and this is a big deal. Click the like button, drop a comment down below, and let's go, 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 go. Here are the domestic first weekend openings for the year. You need to see this because up until yesterday, everybody in the industry thought Avatar was going to place easily in the top 5. And that's no surprise because everybody knew that the only franchise ever to have all of its entries be more than $2 billion winners, which would be the upper echelon, like that's the top of the top of the top when it comes to box office results. The only franchise to have every single one of its entries top $2 billion is Avatar. Now that's $2 billion worldwide and over its full run, but still, that's unbelievable. That's incredible. Well, that streak is going to end, and something big is happening. And it's not good for James Cameron. It's not good for Avatar. It's not good for Disney. It's definitely not good for theaters. But something big is happening. We'll explain it. Where would Avatar be now, folks? Where do we think it's going to land? Get ready. I'll come back to that picture. I'll show you. But it is not good. A collapse is here. From Nancy Tartaglione out of Deadline, Avatar Fire and Ash ignites with $43 million across first 2 days overseas. International box office. Ignites with 43? 2 days? Now, you might say, bro, that sounds pretty darn good. Hey, I'll take $43 million for any kind of movie. Yeah, if you're not Avatar, and I'll show you why. James Cameron's Avatar Fire and Ash is off to a $43.1 million start across 2 days at the international box office. That includes 18 markets that opened on Wednesday, another 25 which just joined the nav'i on Thursday. You know the problem with that? Let's go to Deadline again. December 19th, 2022. How did Avatar The Way of Water do? This is where you're going to figure out, because these movies are insanely expensive. They are insanely expensive. Even if they're shot together, nothing compares in terms of how much you're going to pay. Just what is the cost of this versus that? Now, we can talk about, in Marvel and in Star Wars, the absolute ridiculous spending on fluff and stuff, right? The accounting there is just silly bad. Like, where did the money go? We can do that. But in terms of just how much does it cost to make Avatar versus anything else? Avatar is easily, it might be double, just base cost. Because you got mocap everything. It has to be photorealistic everything. It's shot for 3D IMAX, everything. And I say shot, it's designed for. You have real humans inside this world too, who have to be green screened up with, this stuff it's out there. Avatar The Way of Water global opening rises to $441.6 million. That was 2022. That was The Way of Water. Now, I don't know if you all know how many days an opening goes, but 2 days is a lot of it. And 2 days at 43 for this year's movie versus 44.1, add another number, 441.6 3 years ago. Yeah, we got 2 more days to track internationally. But you think 2 more days it's going to make $400 million more dollars? It's made 43. You think in 2 days it's going to catch up another $400 million? This is catastrophically bad. Let's just pretend for a minute it can get to 160. Okay? Let's just pretend it can do it. That's a third. That's a third of what it was doing 3 years ago. I'm going to tell you what's happening in just a second, but let's go domestically. Maybe it's better here, right? Even though Avatar is a international film. Anthony D'Alessandro. Avatar, Fire and Ash flying to $86 to $90 million opening. Uh-oh. What is going on? And there's David, by the way. David is, are they fighting the mouse? Am I hearing that right? That David is fighting the mouse to be able to be on screens in theaters? I don't know. I don't know if that's real or not. Who knows, right? Friday PM update with a great 72% definite recommend on Screen Engine ComScore's post-track from last night's audience. 20th Century Studios James Cameron's threequel, Avatar Fire and Ash, has seen $37 million on Friday, and that includes the $12 million preview. Conservative estimates for a 3-day total now are between $84 and $88 million. Others believe there's a path to 90 mil. A path. Avatar is not supposed to have a path to 90. Avatar is supposed to have a path to 150. The last one made 130. Ticket prices have gone up. Should make $1.50. Let's say it's less popular. It still should not be struggling to make 100. Little alone 90. And now we're saying that the conservative estimates have it as low as 84. Ladies and gentlemen, Avatar, Fire and Ash, a film, there is no telling if you made it as a standalone film how much it would cost. I mean, it might have a production budget of $700 million. This is, I mean, it's a visual feast. It's an extravaganza. It might lose to The Conjuring. Avatar, Fire and Ash could go from a franchise that was number one every time it ever came out. No doubt. A huge global experience sensation to domestically being in the 8th spot, ahead in the top 10 of only Thunderbolts at that point. That's where Avatar, Fire and Ash is right now. Don't let anybody confuse you. Don't let anybody say to you that this is good or that it's doing just fine. No, this is horrifically bad for Avatar. And now we're starting to understand maybe why James Cameron was talking like, man, maybe I'm done with this. Maybe this is the final one. I think it is. Because you can't afford to make these movies. Like if you make a standalone fourth, you can't afford to make a standalone fourth Avatar film and make these kinds of numbers. These kinds of numbers are fine, right? It's fine to make 85 million. But if you're the biggest blockbuster on the block, 85 is not fine. And when you have the kind of costs that are associated with this, you can't approve another one. Nobody can. Nobody can approve another one if this is the kind of number it's going to bring in. Because what if, ladies and gentlemen, what if this has the Wicked effect? Do you know what the Wicked effect is? What if this has put out something that is so dark and so dreary that people don't want to go back and keep seeing it over and over again? What if that's happening right now? Look at this, my friends. Look. Here's Wicked. Here's the chart. You see it? You see the flat line? What if this time Avatar does that? Because again, it's a very long film. It's very emotionally difficult. It deals with trauma. It deals with harm to creatures. Even if they're fantasy creatures, people have a hard time with that, right? There are estimates out there that by Guardians of the Galaxy 3 handling that issue, they may have lost $300 million because some people they refuse to go see that. They refuse to go watch that. They have a strong distaste for it when it's on the screen. People don't like to watch the suffering of creatures. And there's plenty of that. There's also the issue of deleting the younglings, right? But it's not Anakin this time. It's not Palpatine. And spoiler alert, it's the parents who consider doing it and go right up to the edge of it. That's a hard movie. And I don't want to spoil the film, but I have to say that so that you understand why I'm worried this might flatline. You can come up with all kinds of narrative reasons why that's in the film. I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to tell you it should or shouldn't be in there. Economically, though, is a different story. Wicked is also a very long, bloated film that also deals with very heavy topics. And what did we see numerically from Wicked? Explosion out of the gate, and then it's so dead. Wicked is so dead. It barely crossed $300 million domestically. It's so dead that nobody anymore is talking about, we got to get another Wicked movie. Whoa, do you remember that first week? We got to have a Wicked movie. Oh, we got to make some more Wicked. Nobody's talking about that anymore. And soon, you might be seeing the same thing about Avatar, Fire and Ash. Because this film's supposed to be number one and not even close. Maybe you could say, well, it's top three. But it's not supposed to be down at the number 8, number 9 slot. That's not supposed to happen. And to see the global, because what do we know also, folks? What do we also know about Avatar? When it comes to where does it make its money? We know that Avatar is a film that plays internationally. It does. The vast majority of the money that Avatar makes is made globally. Take a look. If we go to the Way of Water, $688 million at the domestic, $1.6 billion made at the international. If the international has collapsed, maybe down, let's just be safe with them, okay? Let's be as kind as we can, and let's say that it's collapsed by half. I think it's more than that, which is, I'll explain why in just a second. But if it's collapsed by half, then that gets you down to $800 million, what it's going to make. The domestic, on the other hand, is down maybe, 30-40% is what we're looking at right now, 30 to 40% drop on the domestic just in the first weekend. The problem is that you can get negative momentum, and if this becomes a story, folks won't go see it because it's hard to watch. It's very, it's a dire film, okay? I have said this is like The Goonies meets Saving Private Ryan, and that's a weird film to make. And here it is. It's a weird film. So if the domestic is down at 500 and let's say at the end, it may be lower. I really feel like I'm overestimating. I really feel like this is going to be a larger collapse. I could be wrong. But let's say the domestic's at 500. I think that's optimistic. And let's say the international drops all the way down to 800. You're at $1.3 billion. That, folks, would be a $1 billion decline at the box office in just 3 years. And that's why no more Avatar. Because if you have another film that comes out, the fourth one, and you have to put all this money behind it, if that is the trajectory, no investor wants to bet on that. No investor wants to say, well, we dropped $1 billion on the number 3. Let's do a number 4 and see how low is the floor? How far down can we go? No investor is going to do that. That's why James Cameron is doing the PR campaign of saying, I've really told all the stories here that I know I originally said I was going to do 5, but man, I just feel like we gave it our all, darn it. We just really got out there and just did it. We just did it. That's why I believe. And that's why I think that Avatar is going to be put on the shelf. What a problem for Disney, too. What a problem for Disney, because they're investing heavily, billions of dollars across their theme parks to put Avatar lands in. And they're doing so at the same time this thing is wrapping up. It's done. Ghost Town and Pandora. Ruh-roh, Disney. Look out. So what is this about, ladies and gentlemen? Why are we seeing this kind of a decline for Avatar? Why has it gone from being the biggest box office result franchise we've ever seen? Not the biggest in totals, right? Because Marvel's been around with way more, and Star Wars has put out way more, but Avatar per unit, right? Per movie. Undisputed champ. What caused this? What dropped it down? And the answer that I believe, folks, is that I think that people loved the first film as an experience. And then I think in the second film, I think people wanted to go back to that experience. And I think internationally, people love that experience. But I think the third film doesn't have the benefit of the runway that existed between the first and the second. And I think that the second film was more like a traditional movie, although it's still distinctly different than most. But it was no longer like a virtual reality experience of inserting yourself into a world, and it became more about a narrative. And for most movies, like 99% of movies, you would say, well, yeah, obviously, you have to have that. I'm not sure that's whatever this Avatar phenomenon is. And I think this film is actually distinctly anti-human, and it takes away the people we would root for. Like, I don't know that I like Jake Sully and his wife. I don't think I like them. So it's hard to root for them. And that's going to be the problem going forward. I think the bottom's going to drop out on this. I hate to say that. I don't want it to become wicked. And why do we not want it to become wicked? Why do we not celebrate this kind of stuff, folks? Why do I not come on here and say, we've done it again, ladies and gentlemen, another video, another movie has fallen in the cultural battles? Because cinemas are going to go down. Losing Avatar is like losing 2 months of people being in the movies, in the theaters, at a time when they can't afford it. So am I celebrating that? Heck no, I'm not celebrating that. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see that happen because that is how we lose the theaters forever. And we're at the precipice of that now. We are literally at the cusp of losing the cinematic experience. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to do that to you. But Avatar is in collapse. And the media, unlikely to tell you that. We're here on it. We're telling it to you first. Every red alert in Hollywood is going off right now. All right, folks, if you want to know more about this, go check out the Patreon. It's patreon.com/WDW Pro. And again, don't forget the discount code. It is Last Chance 2020. Oh, no, I reversed that. 2025 Last Chance, all caps, no spaces. Go check it out. Folks, like, share, subscribe. Click it, stick it to the algorithms, and let us know down in the comments what's your theory behind the collapse for this film. What's going on? Is it just too dreary? We'd love to hear from you. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
What on earth could I ask for Christmas that's like a guarantee from Santa? Oh, I know!
Yeah, Wilton, we need to talk. You're likely not going to get anything from Santa because you've not really been, good.
Well, don't be so sure, my good fellow.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna go find Slade and wish him a happy Merry Christmas holidays. Okay.
Bye. All right, let's see what he asked for. Coal and a gifted WDW Pro membership. That little troll does have a heart. A diseased, twisted, tiny, sinful heart, but a heart nonetheless. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone!